Hello guys, welcome back to Codemy. My name is Shri and I'm back with my next video in our Dart and DSA course. First of all, I would really like to apologize for the delay. This video and the last video, I guess it was a gap of 4 months, but I am somehow managing this time to just go on with the courses because I know you guys have been waiting patiently and I'm really sorry for that. But I'm back with a new video. This will again be our Dart lecture. In this, I'll cover the operators, conditions, and if loops and the switch statement. So in this video, we will cover the arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, and we'll also see some of the conditionals like if statement, if else statement, switch case, and also the ternary operators, the increment and decrementals in Dart. So without taking much time, let's get started. In our previous video, we used Dartpad, which is good. But now I will show you how you can use VS Code as your personal Dartpad. So you don't have to go to web, create an account or log in or save anywhere on the web. All you have to do is open VS Code and then let us go to our panel, and we will just create open folder, and this will open a window box which will help us to select a folder. So I will choose Flutter projects and I will create a new folder and I will name this as playground because we will be using this to create our playground Dart file which will be used by us. So I'm going to click open over here. Now we have the playground folder, but we don't have anything inside this. So inside this playground, I will create a new file over here and I will just write operators.dart. Okay, so now we have the operators.dart file, and right, as you can see, I can type the Dart code over here. Now coming to the point where we'll have to play this Dart code. Okay, so if I'll come to our debug, run and debug, and you can see we have two options. First option is just directly run and debug this file, and second option is to create a launch JSON file. So what I'll do is I'll just click on create a launch JSON file, and you see we have a launch JSON file which will help us to launch our code. And now I can run our Dart code while hitting the play button. And now if I'll hit the play button, you can see I'm getting an error. Set the program value in your launch config. Okay, so this is our launch configuration, the JSON file, and we have to set the program value to our file name. So what I'll do is I'll just come back into our launch JSON file and I will just set the program. And I'll set that to operators.dart over here. As you can see, operators.dart. And now if I'll come back over here and hit the play button, our file is running. Let me just come back over here and just write a print statement. And now I want to make sure that this will print in our console to confirm that our file has been set properly. So I'll just hit play button. And now you can see Dart operator has been printed in the console. That means our Dart operator, Dart playground has been done. Okay, so now what we are going to see today, we are going to see operators. We are going to see what are operators. Operator is a concept in programming language which helps us to do some operation in our code. So let's say, for example, you want to do an arithmetic operation. So what are arithmetic operation? The addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. These are the arithmetic operations. So if you want to do an arithmetic operation on your code, you will need an arithmetic operator. Let's say you want the sum of two numbers. Then you will use the arithmetic add operator. Just like arithmetic operators, we also have relational operators. Now, what are relational operators? operators which help us to find the relation between two values. For example, if a value is equal to the other value, or if the value is greater to the other value, or if the value is small than the other value. In short, finding a relation between two values is where we use the relational operators. And then we have a logical operator. So what are logical operators? So when we are passing conditions, we use the logical operators to add more conditions, and in our this lecture we will figure out how we will use the logical operators, and then we will come to our if and else statement, or let's say conditions. So first, the operator that we will see are arithmetic operators. So I'll just note down all the arithmetic operators first, and then we will one by one see how they are. Okay. So first we have the addition, okay, and it is denoted by the plus sign. Then we have subtraction and it is denoted by minus sign. Then we have multiplication and it is denoted by the asterisk key sign. And then we have division, which is denoted by the forward slash. We also have modulus, which is the percent sign. Now, tell you what modulus is. Modulus means the remainder. For example, when you divide something and you get the remainder, that is called as the modulus. So now let us see the arithmetic addition operator. Okay. So I'll create a function. I hope you guys know how to create a function, but if you don't know, check out the link above and watch my previous video of functions in Dart and understand how we create a function. So let's say I will create a function of add two numbers over here, and one is int a and int b. So now we have to create the sum of two numbers. So what I'll do is int c a plus b and print c. Okay, and to check we will need to open our console. Now the shortcut key to open the console is Control and Tiddle. Tiddle is the button that is below escape. So I'll press that to close the terminal and the debug console, and I'll press the combination key again to open the terminal below. Now we'll have to call this function in our void main function. So I will call this function over here, add two numbers, and I'll pass the value, let's say 10 and 30. And as we know, we are good at maths, at least the basic maths, the answer should be 40. So I'll just hit the play button over here and you can see the answer is 40. So what we have done is we have used the arithmetic operator. Okay, we have used the plus sign, the arithmetic operator, to perform a addition on these two numbers. Okay, so this is the arithmetic operator. We are doing the arithmetic operation on these two numbers. Now let's use our second operator, that is void subtract two numbers, and we'll also pass two numbers again, int a, int b, and what I'll do is int c is equal to a minus b and print c. So now let us call, I'll just comment this code over here first, and I'll just call subtract two numbers, and let me pass 30 and 10 over here and a semicolon to end our function. And I'll just hit play button and you can see we want the answer 20. So this is the subtraction operator that we have used on our code, on our this sentence. This is fairly basic, but I thought to cover this. Now let us create void multiply two numbers, int a, int b, and c is equal to a into b, and then we are going to print c. So let me again comment this and call our multiply two numbers, and again let me remove this comment from here, and I'll pass 10 and 30 value, and I want the answer to be 300 if I'm not wrong. Yes, 300, because I'm multiplying 10 with 30 over here. Okay, now next what I'll see over here is and division. Now we are going to divide two numbers, and you can see we have created a function called as void divide two numbers, int a, int b and int c. What we're going to do is divide a with b, and you can see we have a truncating operator over here. Now what is a truncating operator? Now as you know, when we divide two numbers, there are chances that the result value can be a double, right? For example, if I divide 5 by 2, the value is 2.5, which is not an int, which is a double value, and we cannot add that double value into an integer. So what this truncating operator does is that if the value is double, it will convert that to integer and add it over here. So let us see what result we get. We will use this function twice, where once we will use to make sure that we get an even number or the whole number, and second time we will use where we will get a rational number. Okay, so I'll just call this function again, divide two numbers. Now when I'll, instead of 30 and all, what I'll do is I'll do over here is 6, and over here I'll do is 2, and I'll hit play, and you can see we are getting the answer 3, because what we're doing, we are doing a divided by b. So we are dividing 6 with 2. Now just let me change that to 5 and see what we are getting. And then we are getting 2. But the answer should be 2.5, right? But due to this truncating value, the double is converted to an integer. So instead of 2.5, we get a 2 value. Or you can just do is just write double C, where you will get the value in the double form, and you can use it directly. So we have done the divide two numbers as well. Then coming down, now we have a modulus part. That is the final thing over here. So void modulus of two numbers. So int a, int b, and let's say we will remove the modulus of c as int a and b. So let me just call this function again over here on top, and we will pass the value as 10 and 3. So we will come to know what remainder we get, and you can see we get the remainder 1, because we can divide 10 with 3, as in 3 3s are 9, and 10 minus 9 is equal to 1. So 1 is the remainder, and this is the remainder that we are getting over here. Okay, so I hope the modulus of two numbers is fairly easy for you. The first part, where we find the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of two numbers, fairly easy. The modulus part might be a bit confusing, but just remember one thing: modulus means remainder. Okay, so when we divide two numbers, whatever remainder that we get is called as the modulus part. This is the remainder in the division. Let us check relational operators. Okay, and over here we will start relational operators. Okay, relational operators. Now what are relational operators? So let's say equal to, you have to make sure that two numbers are equal. Like let's say if number 10 is equal to number 5, and you want to run some condition to make sure if this condition is true or false. Or let's say you're getting two values from the internet, and you have to make sure that the next part of the code will run only when it matches the given relational conditions. Okay, so first is equal to, then not equal to, means two values are not equal to, the greater than, and the less than. Then we have a greater than or equal to. The value can be either greater than the compared value, or it should be equal to, but not less than. and then we have less than or equal to. Now what is the difference between greater than and greater than or equal to? When we are doing the condition of greater than, if the values are equal, the condition will be false. But when we are doing greater than or equal to, then if the value are equal or greater than, in these both cases, the value will be true. Okay. And now what we will do is we will learn some if else statements and what are if else, so that we can use these relational operators to create a condition and check if our code is running properly. So what is an if statement? So an if block has a condition, and if that condition is true, then only the if block will run, and if that condition is false, then the else block runs. So you have two conditions, if, else, and the if part is only executed when the condition is true, and if the condition is false, then the if block doesn't work. Okay, then the else block work. So let us start with that. If else conditionals, right? So what I'll do is I'll just write print greater number. Okay, I'll create a function called as void print greater number, and I'll pass two values, int a and int b. Okay, and what we can do is, let me just type the code again. So if a is greater than b, what I want is print, the value of a, and I'll string interpolate a over here, is greater than the value of b. And let me caps this. So what we'll do is we will just run this if condition. Okay, so I will create a new void main function over here because I have removed the void main function from top. So void main, and I'll write here print greater number, and let us pass a greater first, and then we will pass p greater. So first I'll pass 10 and 5, and let's see what result we get in our console. And you can see the value of a, 10, is greater than the value of b, 5. Now let us interchange the value of a and 5. So I'll pass 5 over here, and let's do 15 over here. So a is 5 and b is 15. Now let's see what we get in our print statement. So nothing, you can see exited. So nothing is getting print because we don't have another statement. And I'll just create one more statement over here, print out of if scope, because this line is out of our if scope. The scope of if starts over here and ends over here. So let me just run again, and you can see out of if scope. So this will always run no matter what this condition is. But let's say you want to print that the value of a is less than the value of b in the same function, then what we can do is we can add an else statement. So what is an else statement? The else statement runs if the condition of if is false. Okay, so if this condition is false, then the else part of the code will work. So how we write the else part? With the else keyword. So else print the value of a is less than the value of b. And let me remove this out of scope part, and if I'll click the play button, you will see the value of a, 5, is less than the value of b, 15. So the value of a is less. That means this condition is false, so our else part is getting executed. Which part is getting executed? The else part is getting executed. Now what we will do is we will check if a is less than b. We have reversed the condition. First, the condition was if A is greater than B. Now the condition is if A is less than B. And we want this condition to run. So if this condition is true, over here we will add the less, and over here we will add greater, right? Because we have switched the condition. So if this condition is true, our this block will run, and if this condition is false, our else block will run. So let me just refresh, and you can see the value of 5 is less than the value of 15. So this condition is running. The if statement is running. Let us change the number, get, and you can see the value of 15 is greater than the value of B, 10. Now this is how we check the if and else statement. Okay. Now let me do one more thing. I'll add 15 at both the places. Okay. And I'll write if A is equal to B, then I want A, value of A is to the value of B. Else the value of A is not equal to the value of B. And now let us play. The value of A 15 is equal to the value of 15, because both are 15. And now let me just change this to 5 and run play. And you can see the value of 15 is not equal to the value of B, 5. So now you got to know how equal to works. Now we also have a not equal to. Okay, so not equal to. Not equal to means the values are not equal. What I'll do is I'll just add a not operator, also called as bang operator. This means not or negative. So if the value is true and I add this symbol, it means false. Okay. Now the value of A is not equal to the value of B, and over here it would be equal. So now let me just play again, and the first condition should run. And you can see the value of 15 is not equal to the value of 5. Why? Because of course 15 and 5 are different. Basic. And now if I will just make the same condition over here, same values, we will say the value of 15 is equal to the value of B 15, because mathematics tells that 15 are equal. So here we have two values 15, and if I do I want greater than, so if I do greater than or equal to, okay, so the value is greater than or equal to the value of B, and the value is less than the value of B, and if I'll press play button, the first condition should run. The value of 15 is greater than or equal to the value of B 15. And even if I do this 20 and run the play button, I'll still get the same result. The value of 20, A20 is greater than or equal to the value of B 15. And now let me just reverse this to 10. And let's see what we get. The value of A10 is less than the value of B15. That means A is less than 15, and we already know it. And the same goes with our less than equal to condition. Now let's say there are multiple conditions that we have to check, and for that we will need and if else ladder. Okay, so let's say there are 2 or 3 conditions that you have to check one after the other. Okay, let's say a student has received, so let me create int is equal to 67. Okay, and we have to make sure, we have to find out his grades. Okay, we have to find out his grades, like is he passed, like just pass, or is he passed with first class, second class, or with distinction, or out of out marks. Let's see. Okay, so we'll write the conditions. So condition is, okay, we'll have to add this into our function. Now int students marks are 67, and we can make it dynamic. Okay, students marks over here, so we don't need this value. This will be a dynamic function. So if students marks is greater than equal to 90, I will say print congrats, you have got A plus. Else we can just write else, but then this will just check two conditions like 90 and fail or 90 and less than 90, but then there are multiple classes, like there are A plus A, B plus C plus, right? And then F grade. So instead of else, what we will do is we will just write else if. So we can pass one more condition over here. So else if student marks are less than 90, then I want print you have got an A. Right? You have got A grade. Now let's come to our B grade. Greater than 80, then print you have got B plus over here. And let us call this function in our void main that we have created. And the function is get students result. And I'll pass the value of 91 first. And let's hit the print button and let's see what we get. Congrats, you have got A plus. Now let me type over here 85, and if I'll play, congrats, you have got A grade. Yes, so 85 is A grade. And let's see if I'll write 75 over here. Congrats, you have got A grade. Yeah, so now this is the issue. This is the main issue. Why? Because over here you can see 75 is less than 90. So our condition will come over here. It will check, is 75 less than 90? Yes. And then this block will run. Because yeah, it's true. 75 is less than 90. 85 is also less than 90. And if I'll pass 30, you have got A grade. Why? Because 30 is also less than 90. And this is the issue that we have to tackle. And for this kind of issues, we need the logical conditions now. Because we have to check two conditions. This is fine. If the student gets value greater than 90, it's fine. Now here I will write one more condition. So the condition should be and students marks less than greater than equal to 80. So the marks should be less than 90, but they should be greater than 80. Okay, equal to or greater than 80. And to make sure that we run these two conditions, we have to add an AND logical operator. And how we add that? By two AND symbols, the two ampersand signs. By adding these two signs, we tell our if statement to run only when these two statements are true. If students marks is less than 90 and students marks are greater than or equal to 80, then and then only this condition will work. If either of these two conditions is false, this condition won't work. So just like that, let us add the AND statement on all our conditions over here. And for the end, we don't need this condition over here. This just single condition will work. And now let me hit the play button and you can see you have failed. Must try harder. And why I failed? Because I have passed the value 30. Now let me pass the value 92 again. And I'll hit play button and I'll get you have passed with A plus. Now let me type 82. I'll hit the play button. I should get you have passed with A grade. Now let me come to 75, hit the play button and you can see you have passed with B plus, right? Because 75 falls under this category. The student's marks should be less than 80 but greater than 70 and it is B plus grade. So 75 is less than 80 but it is surely greater than 70. So this condition of our if else statement is running. Okay, so this is how you create an if else ladder. So why it's called an if else ladder? Because we have conditions like if, then else if, else if, else if, else if. Okay, this is called as if else ladder. Now we used this two conditions over here like this, right? These are the conditional part. There is one more operator called as or the or operator. What this or operator does is, now when we pass two conditions and we use an and operator, we have to make sure that both these conditions are true. And if both these conditions are true, then only our statement will work. But in an or operator, we pass two conditions, just like the and operator. But if either one of the two condition is true, the code block will get executed. So let me tell you how it is. And what I'll do is, if a is equal to 1 or a is equal to 20, print the value of a can be either 1 or 20. Else, the value of a let me call this function over here. So in our, I'll just comment this or operator if else, and I'll just write first we have said the value should be either 1 or 20, so I'll pass the value 1 and I'll run this function, and we are getting the value of a can either be 1 or 20, or let me pass the value as 20. The value of a can either be 1 or 20. So you can see, even if the value of a is 1 or if the value of a is 20, this code block will run. So either one of the condition should be satisfied to make sure that this block of code runs. Okay, now let me pass some other value. Now let's say, let me pass a value called as 5. Now both the condition are false, and the value of a is, I have to remove this can word, and let me play again. The value of a is neither 1 nor 20. That means this condition is running. Both the conditions are false, so this won't work. I hope this and or operator are easier for you to understand. We have seen if statement, we have seen the else statement, we have also seen the if else ladder statement. Now let us check the increment and decrementers in Dart. So what I'll do is void increment the number, okay, and I'll write int a, and what I'll do is, to increment, all I have to do is type a and plus plus and then print a. So first let me call this function and let me show you what result you get. And I'll just call increment number and I'll pass the number as 2, and you can see we should get the number 3 to be printed. And if I hit play button, I'm getting number 3, because when I'm passing this 2 number, this value is getting incremented over here, and then we are getting 2 plus 1 as 3. Okay, so what this function is, it is exactly as a is equal to a plus 1. It means that we are going to add the value of 1 into our previous value and then store that entire value in our a value. So a is equal to a plus 1. That is a plus plus. Okay, and the opposite of increment is decrement, a minus minus. The value of a is equal to a minus 1. So let me call the decrement value over here, and I'll pass the number 10, and if I hit play button, I should get the value 9 to be printed in our console. And yes, because we are subtracting a minus minus, a is equal to a minus 1. Okay, this is the increment of the number and the decrement of the number. So you can use this. And if you ever create our Flutter template project, the counter app that I hope you all guys know, the entire counter app is based on these two functions, the increment function and the decrement function. Like when you have seen the if else statement that we have done, where we write the if and else part. There is one simpler way to do that. So what I'll do is, I'll go back to our if else part over here, and over here we will add ternary operator, and let's see how ternary helps us. I will create a function called as void, and let us pass one value int a. Okay, so what we used to do is we used to do like this: if I can compress this entire code into one line, so I can do a is equal to 10, right? Then I want print a else a is equal to 10. I want this statement to run, else this statement will run. So the first question mark is when the condition true, the true condition we get the true value, else we'll get the false value. So this is the condition, and just let me pass the value as 8 over here and play again, and you can see a is less than 10. So it's kind of if else statement but just in a single line. This is called as ternary operator, or you can say ternary if else statement, right? And now coming to our switch statements. So switch statements are just like condition flows which we use for our if and else. Let us start with an example which will make me easier for you to explain. So what we'll do, we'll create a new function called as get game level. Are you on first level? Are you on second level? Are you on third level? So I'll create a function called as get game level, and I'll pass the value as int current level integer value. So I'll use switch current level. Oh, it should be in bracket switch current level, and first case I'll write case. Now if it is 1, okay, then I want, and then we want to break this over here. Let us create void main, and I'll get game level and pass the value as true. You are on level 2. So instead of if and else, all we did is we created a switch statement. We passed the value, and this condition will switch which case it has to run. It can run the case 1 or the case 2 or the case 3. This is where you can use the switch case. It is kind of an if else condition but bit easier to follow. So guys, I hope you were able to understand our today's lecture, which was on arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, how to use the conditionals, how the control flow of our application. The control flow is the if else ladder and if else statements and the switch conditions, because with the if else ladder we can decide the flow of the condition. Then we also saw switch case. We also saw the and or operator. If both the conditions are true, then only it will work. That is the and statement. The and statement will work only if both the conditions are true, and the or statement will work when either of the two condition is true. Okay, so I hope you are able to understand. Please like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video. I'll try my best to create new videos as much as possible, and I'll try to finish the entire Dark DSA series quickly. Now in our next video, I'll try to cover the for loops, and after the loop part, we will go to the advanced classes, nullability, asynchronous programming in Dart. We will learn that topic, and after that we will start with DSA. If there is some topic which I have missed and we need that in DSA, then I will explain that topic there itself. Okay, so bye bye guys, take care, and thank you for being patient, and please subscribe to my channel, like this video. Take care, bye bye.